Airport case study. There are many ways we can arrive at an airport, but in this situation, in this example, I drove into the short stay parking area of this airport. The reason I'm showing you this picture will become clear in 1 or 2 photographs time. Let's go to the next picture. Take a look at the color on the wall that you see straight ahead. You see the green color, so it's nicely painted all along the wall. And then once you arrive in the lift, elevator, if you are American, you will see the green is color-coded, as every floor is color-coded in the car park. And this is displayed inside the lift/elevator. It makes it easier for people to find their way back to the right floor on their return from the airport. So color coding, as you can immediately see, is one of the ways to make wayfinding easier for people to find their way. Then, as we move inside the airport, in this picture, it's a fairly standard photograph you would expect to see in an airport with the directional signage. What I find interesting, though, about this picture are 3 things. First, the departure sign at the top. It's high and large. With places that are main areas, it is often best to place these signs high in airports and as large as possible, because we're talking about a lot of people needing to see the signage. So high and with large lettering, high and tall signage. The second thing I see on this signage is the movable sign. You can just see it there. I'm going to zoom in for you to show you. It was actually facing the wrong way when I walked past it because the cleaner had moved it and they hadn't moved it back into position correctly. So with movable signage, it's important to check it often. We will talk about later about wayfinding audits, checking your system, and this is the type of thing you should be checking. The third thing I see in this picture, the large sign with 6 places on it is blocking the advertising signage. You will find that wayfinding signage and advertising signage often compete for the same space, but serve different purposes. Let's take a look at another photograph. Something to consider sometimes in wayfinding is whether or not you can use existing structures that exist from the architectural design. So in this case, in the departures lounge of the airport, the FID, which means Flight Information Display, is placed on the pillar, and this works very well in the airport. FIDs, flight information displays, are an important tool in wayfinding because they help people to find the right departure gates and for the right time. Now let's look at the next picture in this same airport. Many large international airports are quite clever in how they use wayfinding commercially. In this airport photo, they use a narrative, they use storytelling to create a better experience and to push sales. In this case, Cadbury's chocolate, which is very popular in the UK, is used, and it tells a story of Cadbury's. You're guided through this area to get to the departures area and the shops, so you have to walk through this area. So this is quite clever. Next picture. In this photo, you might notice that different colored circles are on the floor. These circles guide children or kids to the children's play area in the airport. So once again, it's using wayfinding to create an experience, a user experience in this case, to guide kids and to make it a little bit more fun for them as they're walking through the airport. This is another different movable sign in the same airport, similar to the one I showed you in the first photograph. These signs can be good, but someone needs to check that they're facing the right way. This is why people sometimes get lost and get frustrated. Simple reasons sometimes. This I find very interesting. I'm going to zoom in and you might work out what we're looking at here. Now, this picture is really interesting, and I think you will soon understand why. Imagine you're in this airport and looking for the toilet. It's a struggle to see it, isn't it? Let me zoom in on this picture for you. You can probably now see the toilet restroom sign. You can see it more clearly if you are stood in front of it. If you're stood in front, it's not a problem, but we really need to see where the toilets or restrooms are from a distance so that we can more easily find them. This is a much smaller sign, but it can work better sometimes. So the toilet sign sits at an angle from the wall, making it much easier to see the directions from a distance if you're walking towards it. Another photograph. You can see the signage, big identification signage, so that you can easily find your luggage carousel. So you see the numbers 5 and 4. This is a part of wayfinding where you're making it easy for people to find their way to the location and spot that they need. With wayfinding, there's a lot of different tools we use. In this picture, as you approach the passport control area, they use portable stands and rope to guide you through the area so that they can guide many people at the same time. I'm sure you've experienced this yourself in an airport when traveling. So sometimes these kind of props are quite important because in wayfinding, we also need to manage safety and security. Okay, that's it for the first case study, but let's have a quick recap. From the examples we just saw in the airport case study, we saw quite a few things to do with wayfinding. We experienced the use of color coding, considerations for the size of signage, movable and static signage, the use of existing structures, the use of narrative and user experience building, and signage placement considerations. So already, just in that one case study, we've seen quite a few things. Okay, I hope you found that case study on airports pretty useful. That's actually a lesson that I've taken from my Udemy course. I wanted to show you what's on the Udemy course, and so that's an example from the Wayfinding course. I will leave a link below this video on YouTube to the Udemy Wayfinding courses. Thank you so much for watching this video. Lots of videos coming up. Please subscribe to this Wayfinding channel. I'm the Wayfinding expert. I will see you soon.